Peace, everybody. What's going on? This reaction Overlord. We're back with another video. Alright, so I got finished checking out Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and there was a whole lot of stuff going on inside there that we're going to break down in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie, turn it right now because we're about to get right into it. So the movie kind of start off with, I think, Janet being 10, 15 years into the quantum realm, and she see a ship crash land. She go to it and happened to be Kane. And then it fast forward to present day where you see Scott. He was doing his usual stuff, walking down the street, monologuing. People thought he was Spider-Man, so he got free coffee because of it. Hope she took over the family business, using PIM particles, helping people all around the world. Scott's daughter's Cassie, she ended up getting arrested for shrinking a police car because the police was harassing people who was just looking for shelter because of the blip. But she ended up being real smart. She ended up building the quantum beacon in the basement of their house, which they turned on, and Janet, she was tripping, so she turned it off, but it ended up turning back on and sucked them all into the quantum realm, and they all got separated, along with Hank Pym's ants, his super ants that he made genetically that end up being smarter, and they end up passing through like some type of time dilation. So the ants, within a single day, they live thousands of generations, and they end up building a whole technological advanced city down there, which they end up helping Hank and everyone at the end to fight Kane. Kane, he needed the PIM particles to get inside his engine core that Janet had blew up when she was in the quantum realm with him before she escaped. So he used Scott to go inside there and get it, but he was met with all these different probabilities, which end up making a whole bunch of them. He ended up being suffocated inside there, but Hope came to rescue him. But she had ended up seeing a whole bunch of probabilities too, but they end up working together, and they end up getting the engine core. They shrunk it back down to normal size. But King, he had took it from him and tried to leave the quantum realm, which he could have ended up just doing, but he was being greedy, and he had built a whole armada down there, which he was going to use to seek revenge on the Council of Kings, because they was in this movie too. They showed them at the post-credit scenes. You had the whole Council of Kings and the King Dynasty. You had Ramatat King. You had the other kings. So it's going to be real good. They end up saying that the exile is dead at the end, and King got sucked into the engine core himself. He probably going to come back sometime later on during Phase 5 or Phase 6, maybe in Secret Wars, being more powerful and even crazier because of all the probabilities that he probably seen in the engine core. You had Bill Murray, he was in the movie. He played the character Lord Kryler, who was working for King. He had turned on Janet. He tried to arrest him, but Hope, she ended up fighting off, and they ended up getting away. Cassie had an Ant-Man suit of her own, although it was more like a combination of Ant-Man and the Wasp costume, especially in the comics, because she got her own set of energy blasters and wings. But I think they're going to touch more on that later on in the other movies with the Young Avengers. But she also grew real big in this movie along with her dad. They both had to be about over 300 feet tall. I think this movie, Scott was the biggest he's ever been in any other movie that he'd been in. After they both shrunk down in size, Cassie had an urge for lemons, citrus, just like her dad. Kang told Scott that he killed the Avengers before, that he killed Thor. He said, "You're not the one with the hammer, are you?" Referencing Thor. Basically, he was just saying all the different universes he'd been in. He met different Avengers from different universes and killed all those Avengers. That's how he got those scars on his face, which I think they're going to probably bring up later on in the movies. You had the Quantum people down there who were actually the Morbites, but they couldn't use the name because of copyright purposes. You had the character Holes, who didn't have holes until he got shut up, and then he started using it. They had Quaz on there, who was a telepath. And the leader of the Resistance, Gentora, she was actually the princess of the Quantum Realm before Kang took over. She was the one who actually named him the Conqueror. I think before that, he was just going by Kang. Agent Jimmy Woo got a small cameo in this as well. And by the end of the movie, cafe owner Ruben finally knew who Scott was and started charging him for coffee. I think it was just a play on Ruben, big fan of Spider-Man instead of Ant-Man. He said, "Oh yeah, you're the other bug guy." And I must not forget to mention, Corey Stoll reprised his role as Darren Cross, aka MODOK. He was the one who actually hacked Cassie's quantum beacon and sucked them all into the quantum realm. He's been working for Kang ever since he got pulled into the quantum realm. Remember at the end of the first film, his body was disproportionate going inside the quantum realm. So that's why he got a really big head and very small arms and legs. Kang used him and upgraded him with quantum technology and used his brains for him to be able to seek revenge and get outside of the quantum realm. MODOK origin is very different in the comic books, but I like the way they use this inside the movies because MODOK is pretty much a comic relief throughout the movie, but he ended up redeeming himself at the end when he ended up helping Team Ant-Man and turned on Kang, but ended up sacrificing himself in the process. Overall, I think it was a good movie, and I don't think we've seen the last of Kang. I think he's going to be one of the big villains, the big OP villains for Phase 5. Or they might even bring him back for Phase 6 for Secret Wars. So we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. Drop y'all comments down below. Make sure y'all hit the like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.